Welcome to Tackle Talk Live, dedicated to making you a better fisherman. Proudly brought to you by our sponsors: The Boat Shop, 3J's Four-Way, Pride Rods, Keith's Toledo Bend Tackle, The Lakes Insurance Agency, V&M Baits. Now on to your hosts, Ranger Daiwa Pro Staff Steve Graff and V&M Baits President Kevin Jean.
Welcome to another edition of Tackle Talk Live. I'm Steve Graff along with V&M President Kevin Jean himself, and we have got a really good show for you today, an informative show, a show that we're going to give you an inside look at the day-to-day life of a fishing pro with Nick Lebrun, Shreveport's native Nick Lebrun, FLW touring pro. Nick's been on tour, two years, Kevin?
He just finished up his second year.
2 years, and we're going to get Nick to come on with us and kind of just talk about, kind of wrap up this season, but talk about his day-to-day, all the sacrifices, the trials, tribulations he's had to make to be a professional angler, because if you want to be a pro angler, this would be the show you'd want to listen to and get inside information, get an inside scoop as to, do I really want to do this?
Yeah, I mean, and Nick has some great knowledge with this. He's a family man. He's father of three, who's traveling the country. He's got twin boys and just had a little girl last year. So it'll be great insights from a family man. You know, I'm good friends with Nick. I know it's hard for him to leave home, and it's going to be complicated for him to talk about because he loves being at home. He loves being a father.
Yes.
But you know, Steve, we got a lot of stuff going on right now. Tournaments have slowed down, but everybody's preparing for 2021. And we just got through talking about it. If you're fishing the BFLs, you got to practice on New Year's Eve, basically.
Yeah, exactly.
So everything's kind of starting earlier and earlier. All the tournament dates are coming out. All of the Opens and the Toyota Series are finishing up. People are finding out if they qualify for the Elite Series.
Right.
People are finding out if they qualify for the Toyota Series. I mean, the FLW Pro Circuit, which is now a Big Five.
Right.
So a lot of things going on right now in the industry. It's a very busy time, I guess you can say, behind the scenes in the industry.
And schedules are set. I mean, 2021 is ready to roll, and there's so many options out there now. And plus, we've got a new 150 solo tour we're going to talk a little bit about here in just a few minutes. But we've also, like I said, we've got we've got Nick Lebrun on today. We're going to cover upcoming events. There's only 2 or 3 more events left in this season. I think they're the month of November. Maybe one in December.
One in December. The Combs is in December.
Yeah. So you guys, you might want to, maybe decorate your boat in Christmas colors, for that event and celebrate Christmas on the water at Sam Rayburn. But either way, real quick, we got some sponsors we want to recognize before we get to Nick and Kevin. I think you got the Boat Shop.
The Boat Shop. Mr. Raymond Kidd and his staff take great pride in keeping your boat and motor performing at its best. A certified Yamaha dealer and full support Garmin dealer, offering the best in electronics and the new Garmin trolling motor. Stop by 2410 Sanford Avenue in Shreveport and let the Boat Shop take care of all your boating needs. Give them a call at 318-402-0399 or go to ShreveportBoatShop.com.
And all you guys that are in this Northwest Louisiana, there's a place called Cypress in the Outdoors. It is located inside 3J's Four-Way, a great country store that's got everything you could ever want, especially for the hunter or the fisherman. Top name brands in the hunting industry with guns from Mossberg, Winchester, ammunition. They got everything you need. If you're a hunter, whether you like to hunt deer, ducks, whatever your squirrel, whatever it's after you're after, they've got everything you need from camo to guns to ammo. They got it all right there at Cypress in the Outdoors. And a lot of guys fish all through the winter. So they got a great selection of V&M baits. Everything that you would need from V&M is on their rack, waiting for you to come in there and pull that sucker off and go catch a few fish with it. And so make sure you check it out. They got a great deli when you're in there. You'll have to grab something to eat. Crispitos, fried chicken. They've got box lunches. I mean, they've got everything you would want at a one-stop shop location. You can get your baits, your guns, your ammo, and your food, and you're good to go. So check them out. 3J's Four-Way, Cypress in the Outdoors, right there just south of next exit 127 off I-49.
Next up, we have Pride Rods, American-made, custom-built in Montgomery, Texas. The finest rods ever made by Mr. Billy Kistler, constructed with the finest North Fork composite blank by Mr. Gary Loomis. They carry all your freshwater and saltwater applications for spinning and casting rods. Pride rods, they definitely pass the eye test, but they surpass the test performance even more. Stop by your tackle store and pick one up, or simply ask about Pride Rods. You can also go online at priderods.com or call 832-418-6040 or 936-697-4149.
Real quick, we just briefly mentioned ABA Solo, the new Pro Tour that's coming out with ABA. American Bass is putting this out. Their registration today is underway today. If you're wanting to fish either the Southeastern Division or the Southwest Division, some guys are signing up for both. Their phones are absolutely ringing off the hook up there at ABA, and they've had in 2 hours, they had $100,000 in registration fees already signed up. And so if you're calling in, you're having trouble getting through, be patient, keep calling, or you can go online and register online. Go to AmericanBassAnglers.com. You can register directly online. They're pretty much cutting that off or capping it at 150. And Kevin and I both got in. Kevin got in at 8:30 this morning. I got in at 10:30. And the lady told me it's filling up extremely fast, and today may be the only day you can get signed up. So if you want to fish the Solo 150, you better call ABA today and get signed up, because this thing's going to fill up quick. So, and on the phone, we have a good friend of ours and a guy that me and Kevin both know extremely well and consider him a good friend, is Nick Lebrun, FLW Pro. And Nick, how you doing, bud?
Hey, what's up, guys? Thanks for having me.
Hey, no problem, man. We're glad you're with us, and I'm sure you're probably right now, Nick, at the point you're just kind of taking a deep breath.
Yeah, in between changing diapers and taking kids to school and trying to be a good husband. It's just living that family life right now.
You're back in daddy mode.
Yeah, that's right.
There you go. That's a good thing.
Nick, before we jump into all the other questions we have for you, let's kind of preview your Toyota Series. You finished third at the Toyota Series on Sam Rayburn. Great week for you. I'm sure you was a little, even as tough as it was, you was a little shocked by the weights, as I was. But finishing third up with a little over 45 pounds in that event. Kind of recap that event for us and give us your thoughts.
Yeah, so thanks. It was a great event. God really blessed me with just some awesome fish. And my plan, I knew that it probably couldn't be one frogging and flipping, but with the mats on Rayburn and it being October, I just couldn't help it. I decided that's what I was going to do and just kind of see where things would shake out. I got third place, so that was awesome. But, the deal is AJ and Blake, they were figuring out how to catch the fish before they got to the mat and to the pads. So hats off to them. It was really nice seeing AJ pull off the victory. No one deserves it more than him. My deal was just frogging and flipping, and really primarily flipping. But I was just real happy to had that big day too. That really boosted me up there, and that kind of seemed to make the difference. But fishing professionally all around the country, you don't always get to do a lot of frogging and flipping. It's kind of funny. I had to make sure that all that stuff was in my boat for this tournament, because I was like, hey, do I even have any 60-pound braid in the boat? So it was real fun to just fish an event. Power fishing the whole entire time, just kind of with a nothing to lose attitude and just kind of swinging for the fence. And, it was a great week for sure.
Well, Nick, you went just where I wanted to go. A lot of guys that fish around here, and some great anglers have come out of this region. I remember talking to Larry Nixon one time, and I said, if you're going to fish on the pro level, what would you recommend? He said, go to Toledo Bend or Sam Rayburn and become a guide. He said, if you can catch fish on those two bodies of water, you can pretty much catch fish all over the country. Now,
that's right.
That being said, as you just alluded to, you didn't know if you even had 60-pound braid, because when you go to Rayburn or Toledo Bend, we're pretty much geared up. We're throwing 17, 20-pound tests here. But on what you're doing and going to those northern lakes now and fishing all over the country, you've had to adjust your thinking as to how you prepare for tournaments, hadn't you?
Yes, and I had to order some more spinning tackle this year. So yeah, it is a different adjustment. We finished up at Lake Erie out of Sandusky, and I ran 80 miles one way to St. Clair, smallmouth fishing, and that's an experience. I mean, that just really blows your mind and really gets your feet wet in a whole different way. Mm-hmm. And so I'm still adjusting. I mean, I think anglers are always adjusting. I mean, there is no final check the box of, okay, I'm well-rounded and I'm good on everything. I mean, I think it's constantly evolving, but it has been a big learning curve. Not fishing much here around the house and only fishing out of town. It's been more of a challenge, and definitely it's taken some time to kind of adjust the mindset and even adjust what's inside your boat, because if it was up to me, I'd have some blue shadow flat wiles and a few jigs and maybe a big Lebrun and call it good. But fishing around the country, you gotta carry a lot more other junk with you, for sure.
Nick, let's jump back to that Toyota series. I still want to pick your brain on this, and you'll see where I'm going with all this later with the next question I have for you. But so practice that week, and I know you frogging and flipping. At some point, did you second guess that? I mean, I know it's tough over there, extremely tough. I mean, kind of take us through practice that week.
Well, so people ask me, well, hey, why didn't you fish the Bassmaster Open? And I really thought that it couldn't be one shallow, fishing grass and fishing pads. And when I saw the weights that, Daryl Gleason and some of those other guys were weighing in for that Open, I'm like, wow, I'm glad I didn't fish it, But a Toyota series in October, I mean, that's just got shallow water, grass, flipping, punching, frogging pads written all over it. And so that was my approach. I did go out on day one and graph some brush piles, some of the old tried and true brush piles that me and you both know, Kevin, that just kind of give you a gauge of what's going on offshore. Right. And they were loaded. I mean, they had shad around. They had the big blobs. It looked like a Christmas tree with big ornaments on it. It looked right, but I could not get bit. Yeah. And some of the pros that I was kind of talking to were kind of having the same struggle. And anytime you see Tim Renault flipping grass, I mean, that's a big statement, because if that guy is not out 30 foot of water throwing a 10XD or something, then that's a big statement. I'll tell you another name that we were kind of sharing an area is Chris Wilson. When you see Chris Wilson fishing shallow, I'm like, well, okay, that says a lot right there. I
was fixing to say the same thing. If Chris is up there shallow, you might as well put all the deep stuff up.
Yeah, and so that's kind of what I did. I would tell my co-anglers, hey, I've got some deep stuff. We may go to it, but I really don't want to. Yeah. And so, I found some fish that I'm pretty certain were bass out deep, in that 20 to 25 range, brush pile related fish. But, the tournament's not based on your screenshots. It's based on what you can get in your hand and in your live well, and I just couldn't get bit. So that really pointed me to doing what I love and just kind of doing what my strength is, and that's, punching and frogging and just fishing shallow. And, I feel like I felt like I kind of just, well, hey, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to take my chances and see where I end up, whether that's first or whether that's, 81st. And, man, I just, thank God it worked out, higher than the lower. But, the grass bite will be getting better. I promise you. Yeah.
Well, and that takes me to my question here is, what, and it was one, and we had AJ on the show last week. He caught him on a wake bait type of bait on the edge of the grass. Second place, he caught him on a square bill, outside of the grass. And there's fish around the grass, and there's good fish, around it and in it. But for as beautiful as that grass is and as tall as it is, why aren't the fish, just every fish on Rayburn, in the grass? Why is everything being one punching and frogging? And whereas me and Steve had our BFL there a month or so ago, and it was everything you could get 5 bites out of that grass, and I couldn't believe it.
You could catch 2, and then you go 500 yards before you caught anything.
5
else.
hours.
Yeah, exactly. They just weren't in it.
I don't understand it when you have grass that is that healthy at that that height. Why? Just what's keeping them fish on Rayburn from getting in the grass?
Well, so here's my opinion, and this is nothing out of Bassmaster biological article, magazine, or anything like that. But I think it's 2 different things. So it's been so hot this fall. Everything's running behind, and when you have fish that are migratory and fish that live shallow, you really can't win, and the grass really won't be loaded until those migratory fish come up there and get in the mat and get in the pads. And I think the other big factor to think about is all the pressure that's recently hit. You had the Bassmaster Open, you had several team tournaments, you had the Sealy.
Yeah.
You had our deal. And so there's only so many fish that live shallow on that lake. And I don't think that big wave of migratory fish had moved to the grass yet. AJ and Blake were kind of figuring out how to catch some of those first ones that were showing up outside the grass.
That's true.
But it's a combination of things are just running behind, where it's been, it's been hot enough where those migratory fish are still suspended out there offshore. And 2, the few fish that are living shallow or that did finally start to come up are just getting picked off so easily here lately.
Mm-hmm. So pressure has a lot to do with it then.
Yeah, no doubt. And, I'll hear people say, oh, it's Rayburn, there's plenty of fish out there. Well, yeah, but, those big ones don't get big by getting caught.
Exactly.
That pressure, the fish definitely know when it's Saturday. It just seems like when you get that many boats on the lake in game mode, the fishing changes. And so I think even as awesome as a lake like Rayburn is, and the game fish per acre that lake has, I mean, a lake can only take so much pressure,
Right.
So I think it is a big factor.
Right. Gotcha. You get into the pro stuff?
Yeah. Now, Nick, one of the things that when you're fishing on the pro tour, one of the things I know I fished as a co-angler on the FLW tour back in 2004, 2005, somewhere in there. And I remember how important it was talking to those pros like Clark Wendlandt, Dion Hibden, how to have a little small network of guys you trust that you can share information with without jeopardizing your ability to maybe, give away something to them. But do you have that on there? How important is that on the tour to have a couple of guys that, hey, we're close. You trust another guy when he tells you something, I can take it to the bank, and that's probably what's going on.
Oh yeah, no doubt. That's a huge deal. Because you find out real quick that there are a lot of strong networks out there, and guys do help each other and kind of work together. And if I don't care how good you are or what your mindset is, if you go out there with like, well, I'm just going to be a lone wolf and conquer the world on my own, well, you're going to be in for a rude awakening.
Yeah.
So I do have a little bit of a network. Me and Daryl Gleason, we share a lot of info. We don't ever get too descriptive or, too area specific, but we talk enough to help each other along as far as what the fish are doing, and
right.
kind of, some ideas on what to try and what not to try. And just to see if the fish are biting,
Right.
If you've gone 6 hours without, figuring out anything or catching a fish, and you have somebody you trust that says, you know what, I haven't got bit either, well, that kind of settles you down a little bit. On the same hand, if you have a guy that says, man, I've had a great morning, I've caught several keepers and shook several off, and seeing them or whatever, that's like, well, I need to change what I'm doing. I need to hit the reset button, so to speak. So yeah, man, I tell you another awesome guy that I trust also is Randy Desfino. Just like Daryl, we're friends off the water, and if he tells me something, I know that it's the truth. I know that he's being real. I don't have to. Some guys on tour, like, it's like you gotta decipher this little like unwritten code and like jump through all these hoops to figure out what they're saying, and I just don't have time for that. And I love guys like Daryl and Randy that they just tell me straight up what the deal is, and they're transparent with me. I'm transparent with them, and we just attack it from that angle. And and it's unfortunate you can't just help everybody. I learned that this year too. I had a guy at the hotel I was staying at, another pro, was just really struggling and just really worried and just really down and out. And he asked me for help. And I told him, I said, hey, man, just between me and you can get bit right now, fishing the main lake with this technique, catching smallmouth. And he was just really grateful, really thankful. And then the next day, the word on the whole entire street is, well, hey, I heard Lebrun's wearing them out on that technique, catching smallmouth. So, I tried to help the guy, but I guess he ended up, telling 10 different people, and the word was out. And
so, he went on Facebook.
Jeez. But lesson learned for me. As much as I want to help people and serve others, sometimes you got to be careful with who you do that with.
Right.
Well, Nick, you've been on tour for 2 years now, correct? I mean, you just finished up your second year. I do have that right? 2 years?
Yep.
Yeah, 2 years.
So won the All-American in 2018.
Right.
Fish Pro in 19 and Fish Pro in 2020.
So now that you've got 2 years under your belt, what has been a lot of the learning curve? Not just real. I'm not really just talking fishing, but I'm just talking traveling around the country and being away from the family and how to handle things. What is some things that you did not see coming, maybe that you had to have some adjustments for or handle things differently?
Yeah, so there's a lot there, but I'll tell you this. So I started this year out great. Got a 33rd at Rayburn, a 31st at Harris Chain in Florida, and then COVID hit, and man, my wheels just fell off. And I think partly it was from that is I had a newborn. My daughter was born in January, and I really got used to my family coming to the events or coming to every other event. But when COVID hit, all that went away. And, man, it was just different. I like being grounded and having a schedule and sticking to it and planning. And I don't like surprises. Well, that was all this year was.
Yeah.
It was just change after change after change. And, I just couldn't adjust my mindset, my personality, adapt to that. And if you notice, there was a lot of, younger single guys that shined this year.
Right.
And man, God's given me this awesome family, and I'm just so blessed to have them. And selfishly, I want them with me all the time, and sometimes that's just not feasible.
Well, but, it gives you that family dynamic.
I got to give a big shout out to my wife, Jolene, for supporting me, whether she's at the event or not. That's a huge thing. And I guess one of the biggest things I learned this year is, you will have bad years and you will have bad tournaments, but God has a plan. You just move on to the next one and be optimistic and don't ever get down over something that's outside of your control.
Well, that family dynamic gives you stability, Nick. Mentally, when you're coming in, okay, the wife's at the trailer or she's at the camper at the hotel, wherever the kids are there, I'm looking forward to seeing them. I know Dion Hibden told me his worst year his nightmare season was the year his family came off the road with him, and his boys were getting into junior high. They wanted to play football. So instead of homeschooling, they started regular school. And he said, when my family left me on the road, he said, I was a fish out of water. He said, I was lost. And he said, I had my mom and dad to fall back on the tour, but I was still lost without my family. He said, it was the worst year of my life as a touring pro.
Yeah, I mean, I can see that. And I haven't had a very long career, but, it's kind of a contrast between 2019 to 2020. Yes, I love my job, and it is my passion, and I thank God for it every day. I don't take it for granted. But when, you're sitting in 100th, and you hadn't seen your family in a few weeks, and you're sitting outside in the rain, in your truck outside of a Subway, FaceTiming with your kids, and the tears are coming down on both sides, that's tough.
Yeah.
And that's the not so glamorous part of what we do. But I got a feeling that next year is going to be way different. If COVID will get over with and everybody will get back to normal, and this country can get back to work, I think it's going to be business as usual. And man, I would just be blessed to have my family out there with me, even every other event. But you know what? Even if they're not, that's going to be an adjustment period for me, and I'm just going to have to learn from it and look back at this year and realize that I played things too conservative. I was just kind of fishing for a check and not really, swinging the way that I should be, and it showed in my results. And so, the years that you have real tough circumstances and you don't catch them, I mean, that's some of the years where you learn the most. And this year is definitely going to be a testimony to that for me.
And going into 2021, Nick, I know they released y'all's pro circuit schedule a couple weeks ago. February, y'all are in Lake Okeechobee in Florida. March, you're at Smith Lake in Alabama. April, you're at Lake Murray in South Carolina. May, you're back at Lake Eufaula in Alabama. June, you're in Maryland. July, you're at St. Lawrence River in New York. And then the championships in Wisconsin in August.
Yeah.
So you're in a different state every month.
Yeah.
But as you said, the schedule's out, where you're going to be each month, and now you can plan. And I think I agree with you, knowing you like I do. Once you kind of get your head wrapped around the schedule and get things planned out, I feel like this is going to be a good year for you.
And Nick, what becomes the priority for you now that the 2021 season's out? What is your priority from now till then? Is it sponsorship? Is it speaking engagements? I mean, what
selling Lebrun's?
Yeah. Well, that's from being president right here. So
just since Kevin brought it up, Steve, is that your fishing pole behind you on your right shoulder there?
Yeah.
I don't even know what kind of spinnerbait that is, but it's definitely not a Lebrun, sir.
Let me dog in my spinnerbait.
It is not a Lebrun. I can promise you that.
That's actually a homemade. That's actually a homemade job. So
yeah, Kevin, we need to hook him up. But no, my priority is enjoying my family and being there for them. I've kind of gotten to where when I'm home. I try not to get too crazy and do too much. I will be doing some guiding this fall, this winter on Caddo, just kind of in the meantime. And growing sponsorships, I've been really blessed by the good Lord to have some awesome partners and just kind of working on solidifying, continuing some relationships and hopefully adding a few more. There's always room for new relationships and new partners. And so, just my eyes are open for that and really just enjoying the off season and doing some fun fishing. Man, when it gets cold, it's one of the best times to fish around in our area.
What's the fish? Give us a fishing report on Caddo Lake.
Yeah, so when we come up and go with Nick, he'll know where to take us. We'll know where we're going.
Yeah, so I haven't personally been out there lately, but talking to guys like Vince Richards, Randy Beaver, who both got out there pretty regularly, it's been tough, but it's getting better. And just like everywhere else, we need some cold weather. We needed that water tent to be cooling off. Those fish will start to pile up. there's a little bit of grass and pads, but there's just not a ton this year. It just seems like the main lake grass didn't really grow as awesome as it normally does. There's still going to be some fish that play out there, but they're probably just going to be hard to find this year.
Mm-hmm. Gotcha.
All right, well, Nick, we're going to move on to question of the day. We want those at Nick, don't we?
Yeah. I mean, this is one of those that, with everybody releasing the schedule right now, Nick, and people trying to determine what they want to fish next year, and me and Steve's been in that category, looking at all the schedules, putting them on the calendars, and one thing, especially it caught us this year, is do tournament trails hurt themselves by not announcing the regional championship locations beforehand? And example, this year, me and Steve talked about fishing the Bass Champ circuit, and we ended up pulling out, decided not to fish it last minute. We had a lot of other things going on. Well, come to find out, the championship was here at Red River.
Yeah.
If we'd have known that before, we'd have fished it.
Exactly.
What's your thoughts on that?
So here's my opinion. Trails and tournament organizations, they have a lot more there's a lot more upside and a lot more advantages to releasing that championship location. Even if somebody says, well, it may not do a ton of good, but it's definitely not going to hurt anything. And when I used to fish BFLs a lot and other team championships, team trails that had a championship, I was going to fish no matter what. I don't care if the championship was on, the Ohio River.
Right.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Now there are some guys, and some friends of mine are like this way, where they're looking down the road at that championship or that All-American or that regional or that team championship, and that's basing on what they're going to fish. Because they're looking at the big picture of things and saying, well, I'm not going to win any money just fishing a few BFLs at Rayburn and Toledo, but if that championship or that regional is on a lake that I really love, that might be my ticket to All-American.
I need to qualify for it. Yeah. I agree 100%.
I just hear a lot of guys get discouraged when they find out, the All-Americans on, Wren Lake next year, which is not. I'm just using that example. But, so you got two different attitudes out there. You got guys that, hey, I'm going to fish every event all the way to the end, no matter what. And then you got guys that are like, well, that regional is at such and such, and no, I'm just going to jump in a few BFLs here and there. I'm not going to really commit to it.
Right.
But in my opinion, the tournament trails, if they had that already mapped out and could just release that in the beginning, they're not going to lose any participation.
That was mine.
I think that they would probably add some, especially from those local guys that might live around that regional lake or that All-American lake.
Correct. And again, that was 100%. And me and Steve has had this conversation. Yeah. That is the way I look at it. You take Bass Champs, for example. You're not losing those locals around Rayburn and Fork and Cedar Creek, all up there that has in that north region. They're going to fish on their home lake for $20,000.
Right.
Whereas if you would have announced that the Red River, the championship was going to be on Red River this year, you'd have had a lot more hands from Shreveport fishing Bass Champs.
That Shreveport area, northwest Louisiana, there'd have been a lot of guys fishing.
That's exactly right. So those Rayburn and Toledo guys, it's not like they're not going to fish.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
But you might draw in guys like, I don't know, just Claude Eccles,
right,
or guys like that they could care less about Rayburn, but when they hear something about Red River, their ears perk up.
Yeah. And there's a lot of sticks in that northwest Louisiana, Shreveport, Bossier market that, man, if they know there's a championship coming to Red River, it could make things tough for some other guys. So, but anyway, well, we got your opinion. That's what we were after. And, other question I'm kind of getting to, Nick, are there too many circuits and can they all survive? And we got a new ABA 150 tour. Of course, right now the phones are lighting up at ABA as we speak. People signing up for a $20,000 first place prize for a $600 entry fee, 2-day event. but they're taking away from somebody. They're leaving something else to go fish this because there's just so many circuits out there that I think can make it.
Yeah, I agree with that. And the youth leagues and the high school, that's kind of a separate deal. You only have so many guys that are like at a BFL level or a boss tournament trail level. There's only so many of them guys to pull from. And when you create a new trail, those guys, that trail is not creating new anglers to bring with it.
Right.
Right.
I mean, look at Bass Pro Tour and Elite Series. When Bass Pro Tour started, they needed to pull guys from somewhere because they just couldn't create these names out of the blue. And it's the same way at these local levels. Yeah. You only have so many tournament bass boats and tournament-driven guys out there that, I mean, it's gonna chop it up, I think. And but that's what's great about this country and about our sport is the strong rise to the top. If you have a tournament trail that's run better and pays out better and is more respected, then you're going to get more people to fish it. That's the bottom line.
Nick, in your opinion, is it the first place prize money that pulls the anglers, or is it the how far down they're paying?
Man, my opinion, if it were me, like when I was more of a local angler, it was at the top. It was like,
Yeah.
And here's the deal, guys, and I'm speaking to all tournament anglers. If you go and win, $300 this weekend at a team event, like, hey, that's awesome, but that's not going to change your the grand scheme of things.
Yeah.
Now you go and win, $10,000 or $20,000 at a championship. Well, hey, to me that's life changing. That's something that you can actually pay some bills with.
Yeah.
Take your family on a trip,
Right.
And so, to me, I always looked at the big picture, like, hey, what is life changing for me? It's not just getting a few little top 20 checks here and there. It's actually getting to that time where you're fishing for big money and something that's life changing. But you may ask 10 other guys and say, "Oh no, I just like them paying down the line so I can get my 50th place check and take a selfie and put it on Facebook and call it good."
Well, and you and I both know, and Kev, we all know, not everybody can win a tournament. Not everybody's looking to go win necessarily, as much as it's just an expensive hobby for a lot of guys. And like I said, if they can get their gas money or their hotel paid for, they're perfectly happy.
Yeah, that's right. And if you're in that category, hey, that's awesome. Yeah, I mean, everybody's got their own game plan.
That's right.
And their own viewpoint on things. In my opinion, now it was always my dream to fish professionally. And that's all I ever wanted to do. And I knew that I couldn't do that just by participating. So I always looked at, where does this lead to, and where does that lead to? How can you got to have a route to get to different places, and whether that's a qualification route or a financial route, it's got to lead somewhere that's good.
Right.
And so, yeah, that's my 2 cents. That's my opinion.
Coming from the guy who went through the BFLs all the way to the All-American and the All-American champion. We're talking to that guy,
exactly.
So we know where he's coming from.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's right. And, you have a lot of guys that want to knock BFLs. Say, man, it just don't pay anything. Like, well, dude, if you're fishing BFLs as a financial tool to make a means, well, that's messed up anyway.
Yeah.
You should be fishing BFLs to qualify for the regional to finish in the top 6 to try to make the All-American.
Yeah. Right.
That's the deal.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
That's a carrot. You're right.
Yeah.
Yes, that's right. And so, but again, that's my viewpoint. That's my opinion. It'd be great if every tournament just paid out bukus of money. It's a business. It's just not realistic.
Right. Well, Nick, man, we appreciate you coming home today and taking a step away from the kids there. I know Jolene's probably got you busy, but I will let you get back to your chores.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, man, I appreciate y'all having me on today. And, man, thank you very much. It's good chatting with y'all for sure.
Thank you, Nick. Appreciate you.
All right, see ya.
All right, Nick Lebrun, FLW Pro from Shreveport, and we're glad we had Nick on, and just really brought some good insight, Kevin, as to what in the life, in the day in the life of a pro. Man, I tell you what, especially when it hit home even with me just hearing him talk about it. You sitting in your truck. Yeah. And you got tears strolling down both cheeks, talking to your kids on Facebook Live or whatever you call it. But anyway, it is what it is, and a lot of people don't understand the sacrifices those people make.
And Nick's my age. Me and Nick's same. He's 35 years old, 36 years old, and he's got twin boys that are 4 or 5. Somewhere around that age.
Yeah.
And little girl that's not even a year old yet.
Exactly.
So he is.
It's different between having kids in high school.
At one point, he was on the road because I talked to him as he was driving home. He's gone 3 to 4 weeks at a time.
Yeah.
Away from kids that age.
Yeah.
I couldn't do it.
And the wife.
I couldn't do it.
You got a special wife to do that too.
I respect the ones that can, and I've only got one, and I couldn't do it, and I hats off to those that do, because I can only imagine how hard it is. And like he said, you're on the 3rd or 4th week, you're setting 100th in that tournament, not having a great showing, and you're talking to your kids at home wanting you home. So I can only imagine how tough that would be.
Well, let's move on here. We're going to talk about the 2021 schedules real quick. Bass Champs, theirs has come out. I'll do the East Regional, and that's going to be Sam Rayburn on January 9th, Toledo Bend, February 13th. March 13th is Sam Rayburn, and May 22nd is Toledo Bend. So good circuit right there.
It is. And so what we're going to do here is every week we're going to talk about a schedule. And give you guys kind of the breakdown of that schedule. We started with Bass Champs this week. Next week we'll go on to something else. But as Steve went over the East region, so now the North region, February 27th will be at Fork, April 10th at Ray Roberts, May 1st at Cedar Creek, and June 5th at Tawakoni. And, Steve, I'm glad to see the East region flip-flop Sam Rayburn, Toledo Bend, Sam Rayburn, Toledo Bend, instead of all Sam Rayburn's or just one Toledo Bend. I love seeing them break it up now. Yes, I like it because they're coming to Toledo more, but being a Toledo Bend person, but I'm liking this just not all Sam Rayburn.
Yeah, and this past year, this year 2020, I fished Toledo Bend one time this year.
Yeah.
There was just nothing was going on in Toledo this year. Nope. Also upcoming events, November 4th through the 7th, I'll be at the ABA Race Scott National Championship, along with Cole Garrett from Winfield, Kevin Lazion from Alexandria, Colfax. All three be going over that away, as well as some other guys from our division of the Sam Rayburn South Texas division. East Texas guys will be going as well. So looking forward to that. Then we got Kevin, November 21st.
The
Rayburn Toy Bash.
Yes, the Rayburn Toy Bash. Outlaw Outdoors puts that on. So it's $60 entry fee of a toy, basically 2 $30 toys you can bring or donate, cash, however you want to do it. That's your entry fee. There's no actual it has to be out of pocket money. Outlaw Outdoors puts that on. Great event every year. And then December 13th, the Keith Combs Rayburn Slam event will be happening in December. That'll be an interesting event.
Yeah,
in the middle of December. Yep. So real quick, let's go back over go over a few more of our sponsors. Keith's Toledo Bend Tackle, located at 6302 State Highway 21 East in Hemp Hill, Texas, just across Pendleton Bridge on the left there, right before you get to Crease Creek and the public boat ramp. It's right there, almost in the parking lot. Can't miss it. Stop in for the latest fishing report and shop all the right tackle to make your trip to Toledo Bend or Sam Rayburn a success. Whether your trip calls for bass fishing, white perch tackle, catfish bait, or the ultimate fighting shiner, Keith has you covered. Guys, you can go in, shoot the bull with Keith. Great guy. Ben's going to be in there. Yep. So you either got Keith or Ben that's going to be in there. So you can get a fishing report from Sam Rayburn or Toledo Bend. And they'll tell you what you need to catch, what you need to have them going on. So go in, stop by, pick up what you need for either lake on your way out to the lake.
Also, the Lakes Insurance Agency, an independent insurance agency, has been taking care of Texans insurance needs for 25 plus years, offering auto, homeowners, boat, recreational, vehicle, life, health, and commercial insurance. The owner, Clark Moore, is a local guide and tournament angler who understands your insurance needs as a boater. As a boat owner, wants to be your guy, your go-to guy for your insurance needs. So give him a call for your free quote. The agency is located at 805 Southeast Stallings, Suite 3, Nacogdoches, Texas. Give them a call at 936-205 4467. And once again, don't forget, you guys looking to sign up for the ABA Solo, do it today. The Solo 150 registration is today. And they've been taking names and taking money all day long. And again, the first 2 hours, they had over $100,000 worth of entry fees. So this is filling up quick. And they are looking, according to Chris Wayan, they are looking to cap it at 150. So now later on, if it continues to grow, they'll take the cap off possibly. But right now, they're looking to cap it at 150. So if they are, make sure you get your name in the hat.
And for tournament news from this past week, Cody Bird wins the BASS Open on Neely Henry. Local Daryl Gleason finishes 10th and sets second in the points with one event left, and that's in the Opens. Their last event coming up is in Lake Louisville, up there around Dallas.
Yeah.
And so if Daryl can hang on, he qualifies, and he's a FLW pro right now. If he finishes top 4, I believe it is, in points in the Central region, which right now he's setting second, he will qualify for the Elite Series, which is, I know he would be tickled to death for. Yeah. Absolutely.
And congratulations to Brian Shook and Danny Isles, a really strong team. Yeah, again, the winners of the Texas Team Trail Championship at Choke Canyon last week. They had 5 fish for 27.57, and congratulations. They had a 6.11 big fish. Looking down the list, let's see here. Jason Bonds from Lufkin and James Nitschke. Yeah, James Nitschke. They finished 6th. They had 21.87. Stephen Johnston, Danny Isles' stepdad. Stephen Johnston, Dan Wilson finished 7th with 21.24. Congratulations, those guys. Just trying to look down the list. Anybody I knew? Bud Pruitt, Shane Slaughter. Anyway, evidently had a great tournament over there at Choke Canyon. Good turnout, 27. I mean, you had to be, top 12 were 20 pounds or better.
Yep. So. And then the results from the BFL Regional on Table Rock are up. Local Roger Fitzpatrick won the event with a 3-day total weight of 38.4. We had 2 Cowboy Division anglers finish in the top 10. Brandon Booth from Bryan, Texas, who will qualify for the All-American.
Yep.
And then Richard Ballard finished 8th right here from Sulphur, Louisiana. He just missed the All-American qualification. He had finished 6th. He finished 8th. I know he was setting, I want to say 4th maybe, going into the final day. Had a rough final day. Shout out to Red on a great finish on a very tough Table Rock. I know he was really wanting that All-American berth, but there's no doubt he'll get it sooner or later. So congrats, hats off to both those guys. One last thing, kind of want to discuss and talk about the BPT schedule came out, the Major League Fishing Bass Pro Tour, and something for our area here to kind of be looking forward to is they come to Sam Rayburn March 21st through the 26th for stage 1 of the Bass Pro Tour schedule. That's going to be an interesting week, Steve.
Yeah, there's going to be a lot going on.
So that week you have the Solo 150, ABA Solo 150 practicing. Tournament will be Friday, Saturday. The Outlaw Outdoors Circuit tournament is on Sunday. So it will be a very interesting week and a lot going on over there at Rayburn.
Crowded lake.
So I'm sure, I'm glad they're coming over this way. It's always good when the big circuits get to come to Rayburn or Toledo. We enjoy them. Like I said, that every pocket was going to be full on Sam Rayburn that week, no doubt. So,
big shout out again to Nick Lebrun. Thank you for joining us today, Nick. We really appreciate you, man. And it was great insight as to what it's like to be a touring pro and the trials and tribulations you've gone through as a touring pro and continuing to grow. You have nothing but best wishes from us here at Tackle Talk Live. And again, all the guys out there that are watching us, we appreciate you. Continue to pass the word, spread the word about the show. Let everybody know that we're doing this usually every Monday at 12 o'clock noon. Sometimes we'll do a special episode every now and then. But go to our Facebook page, like us there. Also go to our YouTube channel, subscribe, and that way you'll get notifications as to when we're coming on. So we do appreciate each and every one of you, Kevin. I think that's going to wrap us up. That's
it for this week. We'll be back next week. We'll have a new schedule to kind of go over next week and recap some things there. So a lot going on right now, as we talked about beginning of the show, for behind the scenes, a lot of scheduling stuff going on. We'll update, Outlaw Outdoors, the Toy Bash in November.
Yeah, right.
We'll update you with that. So a lot kind of things going on. Not a lot of tournaments, but a lot of behind the scenes stuff going on.
And I might be able to give you a live report from Lake Hartwell next Monday. So, but anyway, thank you for watching. We appreciate you. And again, if you want to continue to catch more fish and become a better angler, you got to watch Tackle Talk Live. Have a good